Cheers!
Cheers!
Cheers! Goodbye! So Simon says it. We are back.
Hello.
For issue number 24 of our long-suffering show.
Oh no, surely not again. Masaka
for beer, but mostly wine. Although you have Asahi, I think, today, do you?
I do from the co-op in England. Co-op.
Oh, specially brewed by Japanese co-op players. Okay, cool. Excellent. And today we have a special guest again. We have Riva Tarn, who is a senior member of HDKI USA. Hello, Riva.
Hi.
And our friend. Hello, Riva.
Glad to be here.
Brilliant to have you on.
So, Riva, before we crack on, before we get into the deep questions that we're going to ask you, why don't you introduce yourself? Give us a brief resume of your karate career.
I actually started in TKD in Washington, D.C. Because the person I was seeing at the time, I didn't understand Japanese, Okinawan, Korean, and he tried to teach me in the living room. Didn't quite work. I mean, he was really old school, and I didn't recognize sensei, student versus boyfriend, girlfriend, and I didn't understand the difference. So after I moved from DC, I started to recognize why he wanted me to go into a Japanese Okinawan style. So I moved to Pittsburgh. I'll make it very, very, very brief. Went Okinawan, then I moved then we switched to Shotokan. I moved after 7 years and did other styles. I started as a white belt because of my moving. I think I counted 5 times. Then I came back to Pittsburgh and I was allowed to keep my rank, which was brown belt. And that's the gist of it. I've been at it. Well, that was before I was born. So 45, 46 years now.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But that's just a brief story.
Excellent. You started Shotokan with, which would have been what, with Nishiyama Sensei or with?
No, it was Ozawa.
Ozawa.
Yeah, from Vegas.
Yeah, TKIC.
Yeah.
Well, through my sensei, and obviously we went to Vegas every year and various seminars. Yeah.
Ozawa Sensei is kind of the hidden man he's another sort of non-official JKA instructor, I think. But he was very good. And he lived in Vegas, didn't he? Built his own group.
I'm going to get in trouble here, but I don't care. You know me by now. I'm just so glad he wasn't JKA, especially as I learned how it's run and so on. So I was, even though I had a buffer, I'm just glad he wasn't JKA.
Well, he was famous because he worked in a casino in Vegas, and he basically had a day job. And
restaurant.
Then he was a sort of a very enthusiastic and very good, amateur.
Yeah.
But again, no disrespect for that word. But he trained. He was straight out the JKA in Tokyo, because I've read his book upstairs.
He was a direct student of Funakoshi Sensei, but
yeah.
I don't think.
Actually, maybe he wasn't JK, because there's a picture of him with Funakoshi in his book upstairs. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I'll dig it out actually and have a look next soon.
Yeah. Well, what I liked is when we used to go to Vegas every year there was tournaments and seminars. He was everybody's senpai, so it was really neat that he kept the politics away. So it was really neat to see how the Japanese culture still worked in the USA.
Oh, so because Kanazawa went, and Dimura Fumo was there, weren't they? He had lots of people from the whole of karate world came, and he was senpai to all of them, yeah.
Yes, and they had to do what he said, basically. Yeah.
So how long were you with Ozawa Sensei, and then? Well,
it was through my instructor, because like I said, I wasn't, how long was it? Until, I came, oh my God, I'm trying to get the years. I got my Shodan with him. So I'm trying to think, maybe 6-10 years. I don't really remember because it's just the history just blends. But I got my Shodan in Vegas. Actually, we went to Vegas as we do every year. It was at a party. It was like around 2-3 a.m., something like that. And my instructor comes to me and says, there's an international test tomorrow. And I'm going, oh, great, can I watch? He goes, no, you're going to be in it. So I put my drink down And I went to my room and promptly forgot all my katas, could not sleep. And when they said the test is, I forgot what time they said it was, let's say 1 o'clock, I forgot what it was, but we didn't test till like 4 or 5 hours later. So, and he loved the Pizza Hut. So we went to the Pizza Hut afterwards, and my sensei goes, get him wine, get him wine. They had wine at Pizza Hut at that time. I got him wine. He goes to me, oh, you really want to pass? And I go, yes, sensei. So I found out at the Pizza Hut that I passed. Amazing what wine can do. So, yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
And so after, were you with Okazaki or Nishiyama at any point? No.
No.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So tell us, because one of the things that's interesting is the difference, or like how things have developed in American karate. Because American karate is either really, really good or really, really bad. Yeah. I mean, there's some of the best instructors in the world I've seen.
I haven't drank enough to answer that yet, but
cheers, cheers.
No, yeah, I agree. It's some good. Well, it's not the same. We're also more spread out, and I think our, should I say, independence, that kind of mentality is part of it too. But I think also people moved away from the do what I say mentality. We weren't allowed to question anything. I'm surprised I stayed in it. It was a cult. I did put people, I'm guilty of putting them on a pedestal until they fell, and they fell down hard. And that was an eye opener. But it was cult-like. The Japanese were gods, and we find out they weren't. That was quite an eye opener. And I guess some saw it before others. I was one of the late ones, actually, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think that could be a similar story throughout the world, right? But I think, like in some ways, it still is that story in lots of places in the world.
Yes, if you look on Facebook, I roll my eyes sometimes, and I don't make any comments, and I'm thinking, I understand where this person's coming from because I was there, so I know where they're coming from, and it's not for me to open their eyes, and I wouldn't open their eyes anyhow. So yeah, it's still there.
Yeah. So how has karate changed then in the 46 years that you've been training? What good things have happened and what bad things have happened, do you think, in karate?
Well, there's obviously kids and women are in it. When I started, there was me and another woman, and she left a few months afterwards. I don't know if it was something I said, I don't know. There's more women. It's not, you're allowed to question. It's not as, I'll give you a perfect example. Last night in the adult class, everyone came about 20, 30 minutes early. And they were just talking, getting to know each other. And I remember how we would be, if you come early, you got to train, you got to do this, you can't talk, go talk outside. And it just, I thought, wow, this is the kind of dojo I want, because everybody was talking. And one of the purple belts saw someone just by themselves, beelined to make sure he was part of the conversation. And that, in terms of talking, we talked afterwards. We would go next door, have a beer or two or three, and that's when we talked. But on deck, it was all business. So that's changed. What else has changed?
I mean, but my question was, how has being a woman in karate changed? I mean, what was it like when you first started out in dojos as a woman? And tell us about that experience of women in karate.
I thought they wanted to get rid of me. And I'm not sure if they did so much or it was the old way. I mean, my second week there, I was a white belt and I was sparring, free sparring. What? That was, I mean, I don't know if it was the attitude of let's see how much this person can take or whether they wanted to get rid of me.
I mean, was that because you were a woman or just because it was a tough dojo?
I don't know, all the above. There used to be buckets. They used to be very proud of having buckets on all corners. They didn't let you rest.
Yeah.
You just got up and kept going until you died.
But I mean, that's kind of good. That means they treated you the same. I mean, you must have had experiences where, you know, where being a woman. Tell me about some negative experiences you had being a woman.
I think, well, they don't take you as seriously, or either they're too hard in terms of being attacked, or too light. And also, as I kept going back to being a white belt and I would go to tournaments, I would recognize them not looking at the women division as serious as the men. That was part of it. And as I went up in rank, I would be told, hey, go tell this person something or other. It would come off as the B word, the bitch, as opposed to doing what I'm told to do. Wow. And I think in a different podcast I mentioned that, but on my side, I should not have taken that role on. But it's just, I was told it's my tone of voice. I was told to get a coach, a voice coach like Thatcher did.
Wow.
I was close to doing it, but I refused. I'm glad I refused now.
What's it? Sorry, to deepen your voice to give you more authority.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's.
I think I need one of them as well.
I think I'm fine at the moment.
A quick intersect. Like I was on a train in Tokyo once. I was going from the airport to Tokyo, from Narita Airport to Tokyo, and this was JKS days, and Alan Campbell, who was the chief instructor of the JKS in England, he was there, and there was this instructor who was must have been on the same plane, whatever, who was JKA, because I think it was the JK Spring Camp at the same time, and he was a Scottish, one of the senior instructors of the Scottish JKA, and he was like facing us like 4 or 5 rows down, and Alan caught his eye, and Alan is Scottish, and Alan said, "Oh, how you doing?" Chat away. "Oh, you're blah 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 blah." And then they had a conversation, and I was sat next to Alan, and he went, "Oh, and this is Scott Langley," and I went, "Oh yeah," and he was like, "Oh, how are you doing?" Alan went, "I've never heard you sound so camp in all my life." Anyway, when you get that coach, Riva, send me the number. I'll get it as well.
I'm not going to do it.
Well, I mean, I think, I mean, we're a similar age, really, and I remember, like, in the 70s. And
I'm 6.
I'm
Ask
6'1".
my kids.
I'm 6'1", I'm 6'1", baby. No, but there was definitely a case of, I mean, when I started karate again in 1974, I mean, there weren't really women in the dojo. But anyone who was in the dojo as a woman, they were good. They were really good. But there was that mentality even then, and it was like of its time that women made the coffee, women made the tea, women did the paperwork.
Women cleaned.
Yeah, I mean, did you fall into that role as well?
Yes, actually, yeah. I ended up getting the key so I could clean. Now I volunteered for that, so it's not anyone's fault but mine. But I ended up, yes.
And what about teaching kids? Did you? Because again, there was no kids. I got the kids. I think were you given the kids to teach, sort of thing?
Yeah, I got the kids. I was told maybe I was responsible for the beginning adults, and the kids were my responsibility. That was it. In fact, when I finally opened up my own place after going from a fitness center, I didn't think I would get adults, and now I didn't even think I would get guys because of the mentality that was, I don't want to say gaslighted. I'll say it. I was gaslighted.
Yeah.
And now I know better. I mean,
I would think in the 70s, I would have thought it unthinkable that there was a female sensei. Just as a teenage boy in the 70s, that was not in my image. It wasn't something I met some really good people that would,
I only remembered one woman, and she was Demmer student. I forgot her name. I remember meeting her, and I was a nice lady. I forgot her name. I don't know what she's doing now, but she was the first one that I thought, wow, I can do this. And I wish I could remember her name, but she was.
Was she like a role model for you?
I only met her a couple of times, but I don't know if that's the right word to use. It was more like, I can do this.
Because there weren't really female role models either then. You know, I mean, you know,
No.
Angela Mao Ying from Enter the Dragon was like the only woman I kind of knew. I think there was Cynthia Rothrock. Do you know her in America?
I know of her, but
yeah, she was like obviously very good. But in terms of role models, there were very few. There was in England, there was Sandy Hopkins, who was Steve Cattle's partner, who was like, who won the Kata every year, and like in the 70s, and she was just like, you know, good. Period. That was it. No question. You wouldn't mess with Sandy, and she just happened to be a woman, and so she was maybe the only role model for a long time.
No, there was not really anybody. I think the women now are very, very. I see the youngsters in my dojo, and I really, assuming they continue. I mean, who knows? I see the future is bright, but it wasn't like that. I would have quit actually. I'm still friends with the guy who got me started. He's in Japan now, and if it wasn't for him, I probably would have quit.
I mean, me and Scott talk about this a lot. There was a long time from, you know, back in the day, karate wasn't fun, was it?
It was fun afterwards.
yeah, exactly.
Well, I would take karate one day, jiu-jitsu the next, karate, jiu-jitsu. So it was like one day after the other. And they wanted me to be in jiu-jitsu for some reason. They didn't want me, they kept telling me, why don't you choose jiu-jitsu? I don't know why they did that. I think because of jiu-jitsu is more leverage than strength.
A gentle way.
Maybe but I chose karate.
Yeah, so here's the big question. I mean, you know, why did you start?
Oh, this is so stereotypical because of a guy.
Oh, because of a guy. Same as me and Scott.
Yeah.
It was because
my guy was Bruce Lee. No,
it was because of a guy, and he's now he's American, but he teaches Japanese. I'm sorry, he doesn't teach. He translates Japanese and Chinese, and he lives in Japan.
So it was just like a dating thing, and you went along with this guy. But then you must have fallen in love with it, like. You didn't fall in love with the guy, but you fell in love with what he was doing.
Yeah, this is not for public. I would tell you everything in person.
No, but I suppose what I'm trying to get at is like, I like the idea that maybe, you know, I know.
It was love, yeah.
Scott saw, I saw Bruce Lee, Scott saw Ninja Turtles, whatever. But but you didn't. Did you know what karate was before then?
Nope.
So yeah, but then I'm just the interesting point is you joined it, you tried it, and then you obviously fell in love with it. I mean,
yes.
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's just so. I mean, did you do sports before? Did you play like were you a sports?
No. Women didn't have. Oh, you don't know the laws here. There was what Title IV is it? No, all the money for sports went to the guys. Okay. I didn't do anything.
So tell us how, like, over the last 46 years, what do you love of karate? What have you always loved about karate? What did you love about karate? Maybe not so much now. What do you love more about karate now that you didn't before? Like, how is that kind of passion for karate?
I enjoyed the workout, and then eventually learning how the body moves. That's more so in later years. As I started to teach, I remember I never liked Heian Sandan as an example. So I give my former sensei credit. He said, I want you to research it and teach it. I forgot how much time he gave me. I researched it. I go, holy crap, I understand now. And I taught it. Like Gankaku, he taught me that kata because my sidekick stunk. I'm not saying they're the greatest now, and I fell in love with it. So I like the workout. I like the friendships I've created. And except for Zoom, I really enjoy teaching. Actually, I've been really burned out because of COVID with having extra classes, maintaining distance. And like the past, was a week or two where we're fully open, fully vaccinated. We're talking about the adults, fully vaccinated. Like I see all these guys coming in, I'm thinking, oh my God, this is why I do it. But I've been burned out with sometimes I realized I was burnt out, but more so, especially last night when I saw the guys talking, I thought, wow, this is my dojo and this is how I want it. Yeah. So, yeah. How do you handle burnout?
Well, I mean, it's very hard. I mean, me and Scott were speaking about this, off camera a while ago, and it's very hard. It's very difficult. I think you need a break, have a rest. I mean, I had a rest recently, and one half term at school, and I went from being completely exhausted and tired and hating karate. I said to Scott, I hate karate. And then literally a week of a rest, sunshine helped here, went for a run. I feel okay now. Still hate karate, but I'm fine. No, I'm okay. I think you need to rest.
Yeah, I mean, I think like obviously Simon and I know each other very well, and so I can tell when Simon is at that edge where I can't kind of push him anymore, and I take a step where he kind of like it's very easy to kind of tell, because he tells me. So I mean, I'm not too sure. Like maybe Simon will be able to speak better for how I deal with burnout, but like I think it's really difficult because you don't quite know that you're there, right, until you're suddenly there. And yeah, burnout.
I saw you, in the Zoom times, because you were, like you'd lost your life. You were constantly on the road. You thrive on working. You're not a lazy person.
Yeah.
And you threw yourself into Zoom, and then suddenly we had lots of things to deal with.
Yeah.
And you changed a little bit. You were not quite you.
Yeah. I
mean, this time last year, I think you definitely had a bit of an edge to you, and that was because of stress.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a hugely stressful period of time. I mean, I was actually at so my physio is also the physio for U2, the band, and so like he spends not my like the physio that I occasionally go to. He's also the physio for U2, and so he travels with the band when they're on tour. And so again, I was there this morning, and I was having a long conversation with him about all of a sudden our lives just kind of ending, so it's a professional life that we have and how you deal with it. And I was saying to him, he's a very smart guy and very switched on. And I was saying, there's certain people that have kind of found a way, like they've taken a knock back and then found a way and kind of discovered ways of working within the parameters that they found themselves in, and other people that haven't. And I think I'm a bit of an extrovert in the sense that I get lots of energy when I'm around people.
Me too.
Yeah. And I get I remember like a few years ago, I flew over to San Diego and to train with Steve Sensei for a few days before I went on to do other things. And I was seeing him in the evenings, and then I had the days by myself. And I remember calling Tor, my wife, and saying, I'm really lonely. I don't think I do well when I'm not with anyone. And she's like, well, I think it was probably 46 years or 45 years old. And she's 45 years old. Have you only just figured that out? Do you not know yourself? I'm like, oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I don't think I should do this again by myself, and I haven't, So I struggled. So the what I then quickly did is get into the pattern of kind of just doing those weekend seminars and just having that artistic outlet, and that got me through that week. That boost of the Saturday afternoon when I was teaching these seminars with just myself initially, then other people, was enough to kind of get me through. And I think I would have burnt out if I didn't do that. If I just sat and did nothing, it would destroy me.
Well, you are what you do. That's what you exist. You are what you. And what advantage you had your Hombu Dojo instructors around you.
Yeah.
And I feel that just having a base to go to, having people to train, because you've trained all through the pandemic,
Yeah.
And I think you just, if you would have been, I don't know, stuck somewhere else in Liverpool with your mum, you would have really, but you know what I mean? If you would have just not had people around, me, I've struggled by being on my own a lot of the time. Really, like Zoom became a chore because it's just me. I found that very hard. So I think it's great to have people around your community.
Well, I think also part of the rationale for first of all building the dojo and trying to make it big and also the group nationally and UK, Ireland, and then obviously HDKI, is that, like, I often feel like it, you know, there's that, is that protectionism. Have you ever read About a Boy or seen the film?
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah, Nick Hornby.
Yeah. There's a line in that where like it's about the boy, right? And there's a line in that where he says that because his mum was going through kind of like, you know, psychological issues and stress and everything, and then he was getting kind of the Hugh Grant character in the film, kind of getting him involved, and he was saying now I've got this whole network of people that will look after me. You know what I mean? Like he's got, like, if my mum fails me, I've got this kind of surrogate father, and if my surrogate father fails me, I've got this. And I often, like, it kind of not resonated, but in a sense, like, I kind of, that idea that you're kind of just building up this kind of complete kind of network community around you that will look after you when you need it. And I think yeah, like during the last year, that's exactly what's happened.
So I mean, Riva, what's the COVID story in the States then for you? I mean, were you closed a long time? Were you doing lots of Zoom?
We had a test on a Saturday. Lockdown happened that over the weekend. Monday I was on Zoom. Then I also, besides Zoom, I had free private lessons. I will not do that again, the private lessons, because everyone's doing something. They're on lockdown. I was on Zoom from like 10 to 10.
Wow.
I will not do it again.
That's exhausting.
It was. I was very, very burnt out.
Yeah.
Finally opened, half open last June, and the majority were still on Zoom. But I had my people that came in on pods. I had extra classes to accommodate social distancing. And I think, was it May? I think for my birthday, yes, for May, we were finally able to take the the tape that I had for the 6 feet distance, and slowly but surely get the masks removed.
How long were you out of the dojo for?
March, April, May, June. Completely, was it 3.5 months? And then then June, well, last June, not this June, until May, it was majority were still Zooming.
My dojo's closed pretty much for a year.
Yeah, it's about a year, yeah.
I mean, outside we were training, but actually inside for a year, over a year.
Yeah, but it was questionable if the dojo was going to survive, and it has. And
that's probably testament to your hard work, isn't it? I mean, I've been talking to people in HDKI GB, you know, and there's 2 clubs which haven't done anything, which will may not come back, you know, because they haven't done anything.
Yeah, I got a nice one of my Facebook posts. One of the parents posted a very nice comment, which really, it was just like, oh my God, it was all worth it just for that one comment. It was all worth it. So.
Okay, I mean, I was just thinking, I've got a list of questions for you, and one of the things I wanted to talk about was, we talk about the past a lot, but I mean, I'm very much thinking about the future now. I'm really trying to live, you know, not thinking about the past a lot. I mean, what are your hopes and aspirations for the future for you and your dojo, and you, especially you and your karate?
Oh, wow.
These are the questions I asked, Riva. Well, I'll tell you why, because I mean, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, because I'm 61 years old, you know, and I'm feeling myself, you know, I've really got to change the way I train, you know, and but I'm certainly not stopping training, and I have hopes and aspirations.
Yeah,
what are you thinking about?
I will tell you, it took me a long time to accept that I couldn't do things that I'm able to. I had some cortisone shots for my toes because, that's another story. I'm not going to get into it here, but unless you really want to hear it. So there's things that I have to.
But what's the positive thing you think you're going to do?
I can continue because of the cortisone shots. That's positive. I'm trying to avoid taking a leave. I mean, I'm trying, because that's just bad for the stomach. But the positive, I'm still working. It keeps me young. I look at some of these people that are not in karate, and I'm thinking, wow, they're younger than me, really? So I know that at least mentally, and I think a bit physically, it keeps me young. And
I'll tell you what, one of the things my ambition is to sort of, we always talk about having a legacy and stuff. And I was training last night with my Dan grades, and I had like 5 Dan grades training from first Dan to third Dan. It was lovely. And I was thinking, they're getting better than me. And
that's wonderful, though.
Well, that's what I want. Yeah, I mean, what I want to do is what I really enjoy now. I want my sort of hopes for the future is that my dojo can live on when I won't be teaching it, and it continues.
Yeah, I think
with my students.
With the guys that stuck with me, I mean, I don't know if they're going to open their own dojo because one wants to be
assigned. Take over my dojo. I mean,
Yeah, I think like I have one individual who is staying in Pittsburgh for college, and I'm so glad because she gets to come on Saturdays, and she could have easily said no. I am college now, goodbye, because most people go off to college and they maybe come back at Christmas to say hello. So there's hope. I mean, in terms of this particular dojo, I'm a one-person show, but in terms of continuing karate, I think at least with the kids who are the higher ranks now, I think they'll continue it.
Just with your HDKI Pennsylvania, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in your local area, what other sort of karate is going on there? Do you have friends, an associate network of friends or rivals?
I do have one TKD who's always supporting our events.
Oh, that's nice.
He's come to Scott Sensei. He's come to like with JD and Rick Sensei.
Are they the Tang Sudo guys?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen them. Yeah.
Yeah. He comes to all of our events. He supported me from day one. In terms of what's around here, it's mostly Korean but in terms of Shotokan, not in my part of town.
Well, within Pennsylvania,
there's ISKF. They're more on the East Coast. We had one here, but he's ours now. So,
Andrew,
HDKI Pennsylvania. There's 3 dojos, yeah.
Yes, 3 dojos in 2 in the west and 1 in the east, and we'll see about further ones.
But I was going to say about the talking about kind of the legacy of your dojo. Like I often think that you're kind of quite good at teaching the generation below you, and anything beyond that, either your same generation or 2 generations below you or wherever it is, it kind of gets a little bit more challenging. And I often think like you get people who, I remember having a conversation with a very senior karate instructor in England, who shall not be named, and he was lamenting at the fact that like he was probably at the time in his late 50s, maybe even 60, and quite senior, but was lamenting that he was teaching white belt kids, and like, do I really want to be doing this at my age, and like I'm just sick of teaching Kihon Shodan to white belt kids. And I was like, yeah, well, it's a challenge, but I was thinking, well, what have you done wrong? If you've been teaching for the last 40 years, that's wherever it's been, how many black belts has gone through your dojo? And have you not given them any permission to kind of teach the generation below them? And so I think like legacy is much more about kind of like not giving up your dojo in one dramatic, I'm retiring now, but slowly fading away.
I mean, for my dojo, I would only retire, but I want to toodle on up there, and I want to see people doing the warm up and being part of it. And I still want to be part of it, but definitely, I want to be going down on my sort of, in my Tai Chi outfit when I'm 100, the beard.
I give my guys as much as a responsibility as they want, whether it's warming up or taking 1 or 2 people or 3 aside. Of course, I have to make sure they can handle it, but you've got something like school getting in the way, non-important stuff like that. But in the summer, it's much easier in terms of having them help out if, if they want. I do know that, like when my Shodan, she's going to help out all of next week. The following week, she starts school at Duquesne. It's a very good school here. And so she's only going to be able to come on Saturdays. But she said when she can, she's going to come in and help out. And the other day, because I still have, all my teens and adults are finally in person. That feels wonderful. I still have kids online because the parents are nervous, and I understand that. So she's been coming in. Monday, she took the Zoomers, I took the in-person. Wednesday, we reversed it. I took the Zoomer, she took the in-person. So that helps because it's really very challenging, as you guys know, to teach Zoomers and in person at the same time. It is just challenging, and you need
because you give the energy. That's the problem. All the energy has to come from you, and often when you teach a class, you get the energy from the class, don't you? Like teaching, I find teaching I taught a small class before a new class for beginners, and there were 4 people in it, and that's much harder than teaching a class when there's 20 people in it.
Well, when I invited the adult and teen white belts into the regular class, because I had enough, as I call it, ammunition to join the class, and I saw how big the class, well, big for my dojo, how big the class was, it was just, wow. I have not been, I think I posted also on Facebook, I have not been so happy in a year and a half. And I realized how I was more burnt out than I thought I was. And I remember it was a Thursday, I was talking to one of my purple belts, and I said, I didn't realize how unhappy I was until I realized how happy I was seeing all this. Quite a contrast. So my energy level is sky high now. I tell you what, if it wasn't for your classes, I go to Scott Sensei's classes twice a week. That is not just physically, mentally, it's such a boost. Matt Payne used to have it twice a week.
Yeah.
He is a really interesting way of teaching, and that's in a good way, but I enjoy his. Simon, when you had your classes, it was wonderful.
Thank you for coming to my classes. Mike, that made me very happy because it literally, because it was very weird. Yeah, and I had people from around the world. It was beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, and I have to say, I just let. And JD still has his classes once a week on Sundays.
Yeah, he's hanging in there, isn't he? Yeah.
So it's COVID isn't all bad. That was a blessing.
Yeah,
so
but also, I mean, you're talking about all these people doing free classes as well.
Free.
Yeah, because I always look at people, and lots of the other big organizations are charging like $25 and plus for classes.
Well, this is what I found out during COVID. Who is worth inviting to Pittsburgh and who isn't?
Well, I'll see you in Pittsburgh then.
That was for, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I'll see you in Pittsburgh.
Oh, no. Hey, for kicks, you're it. Don't expect me to kick high though. No, and I would take classes. Okay, it's $20-25, whatever. I go, it's worth it to see if I want them to come and teach my guys.
Yeah.
So,
I found out
Riva, how much have you drank? How much of that coffee have you drank? All of it?
Probably not enough. What are you going to ask?
Which instructors weren't worth it?
Oh, you.
Tell us. Cheers. Hey, look,
No. Don't answer that. Don't answer it.
I already told you in private.
Yeah.
Who was not worth it.
I tell you what, but moving on from that question then, who has inspired you in karate? I think that's really important. Anyone who inspires you is a really important gift in all your life. Who's inspired you?
Tell you, well, I had, before joining HDKI, I'm never going to join an organization, blah, 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 all the crap. Put it this way, I read Scott Sensei's book, and now what I went through is not to the extreme that you went to. I cannot even compare the crap you went through, but I could relate. And I remember I went I think the 2 seminars with Scott before the seminar where I actually asked to join. And I had a long conversation with you. And I told you my background, I told you how I am. I'm not very good with authority. And I gave him examples and he took me anyhow. In fact,
I've been scared of her ever since.
And I would say something about, because of my size and all that, something would not work for me. And I would say that in class, which is a big no-no. And I'm going to tell you this, until Scott Sensei, I always thought it was me. I always thought it was me. It was me. Something's wrong with me. Don't get me into tears here. But it was at least an hour conversation. You might not remember it. I remember it. And I thought, holy crap, it's not me. It's not me. It was like a light bulb.
Brilliant.
And then I talked to somebody else who was in my former organization, which anyone knows my background knows who it was, so it doesn't matter. And I thought, okay, I'm joining. I come back Monday after Thursday saying, hey, we're not joining anything. Guess what, guys? We're HDKI now. But that was, I'm telling you, Scott Langley is a breath of fresh air. Really.
Moving on. So,
not someone else. not me.
Simon, you too. Well, Simon,
no, not me.
We didn't have that hour conversation that I had with Scott Sensei. We had other conversations, but we didn't have a conversation.
But so, no, anyway, moving on.
Oh, come on, let's embarrass you some more.
I had to tell you though, like, there is very much especially when it comes to dealing with stuff in HDKI USA, is it going to pass the Riva test? Am I going to be able to justify this to Riva?
Let me tell you something. I obviously text privately to Scott Sensei, and let's just say I could not get away with what I have to say prior. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I keep thinking, oh, I must be on his shit list again. And I think one time I said, am I back on your shit list? He goes, no. And I mean, to tell me to continue to be, I guess, devil's advocate, in your position, people kiss your ass, and I refuse to do that. So I just did
in my life.
Oh, you'd be surprised. A lot of people actually give us lots of grief as well.
Yeah. I think both Simon and I have purposely surrounded ourselves with people who just mildly put up with us.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. No, to be able to freely say what you think and the head honcho being okay with it. I mean, putting up a front for the good of the organization. I will always be a team player, but being able to say something and not be, I'll say it, yelled at for it or put down for it or make me feel like crap for it. Like, holy crap, where were you when I needed you?
Yeah, but I mean, one of the big problems of human history beyond karate is people not speaking up.
I have no problem. Now
yeah,
you know.
But no, I mean, a lot of times the elephants in rooms or things happen and no one says anything, and it's just like, that's one of the big problems of humanity.
Yeah.
Sent by silence.
Yeah.
Have I spoken before about like the term catfish? I don't think I maybe mentioned this before.
I know.
Yeah, you have. But you have. Yes, you have. But yeah, I'm more than happy to listen to it again.
Yeah, it's just like because it came from a documentary called Catfish.
Yeah.
Which is a really
you have said this before, but say it again.
Documentary, but like it basically comes from this old guy who was at the end of the documentary, who was talking about, well, you need catfish in your life, and the documentarian goes, what do you mean? And he goes, well, they used to kind of bring kind of wild salmon down. They stick them in the hull of the boat from Alaska, and by the time it got down to, I don't know, Seattle, wherever they were landing them, the salmon were dead because they were just they just kind of had they just kind of died in the hull of the boat, even though they had everything that they needed. and so they started putting catfish with the salmon that used to swim about and try and nip them, and it kept them alive. It kept them kind of like, oh, there's gonna, and they kept them moving and blah blah blah, and the salmon would be healthy. And basically what you were saying was you need catfish in your life to constantly just nip at you, to keep you solid and keep you on edge and keep you kind of sharp. And I think we all need those in our life. We all need people to make fun of you, to call you out, to say that you're talking bollocks, and also to to help you bury the body.
Well, and correct you to ask questions, and never say that platitude of more training. I mean, that's the trouble. Karate has that refuge of saying, what are the mysteries of karate?
Yeah.
And no one ever talks about them because there aren't any.
Yeah.
But secret is more training.
Yeah.
And you hear that story all the time, don't you? It's really tiresome.
Right.
I've done Sochi for 20 years, but I talked to my sensei and he said, you need to do more training. That's terrible, sensei.
Okay, well, listen, before Simon finishes with the flurry of questions, do you have any questions for anything you want to talk about, anything you want to ask us before we kind of start?
Please continue Zoom on your Mondays and Thursday classes.
Yeah, I will. So the whole dojo now is set up for Zoom. So you were training last night, yeah? You were training yesterday, and so
yeah,
you were there yesterday. Yeah. So that was the first time we were back, because we were back in the dojo for the first time. So it was the first time that I had the camera mounted where it was and the TV where it was. And was it okay? Did it work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because I enjoyed those classes. One thing about being having your own dojo, I wanted to have a brown belt class where I can train with them, with the brown and black belts, but something would come up. COVID came up. Now I got to get them ready for your test in October. So I'm not going to train with them when I got to help them. So your classes, I can't work out with them like I want to. I can at least work out twice a week with you. And your classes help me, also help me help them. So that's why I want Zoom to continue. But I would love to do what you do with you guys, but I'm not at that point yet where I can do that. And especially preparing for your visit in October. Anyone's listening, Halloween weekend, Scott Sensei in Pittsburgh, getting ready for your, getting them ready, especially June, July, August, September, 4 months, because they haven't been able to spar each other. Like it's 4 months to get them ready to be able to do proper sparring to put them in front of you. So I can't be training with them when I have to get them ready to test with you.
Yeah, no, I'm really surprised by how many people are continuing to kind of stick with that training, because like there was, I don't know, like there's a consistent like 25 people on the Zoom calls. And like, last night I had like actually slightly over what I should have had because there was overbooking, but we had 20 people in the dojo and like 20 odd people on Zoom. Like, it's a great class, and most of them are a lot of them are senior HDKI members from throughout the world. Although, I mean, anybody can join. There's non-HDKI members there as well. But like, I'm really happy to kind of bring the senior HDKI members into the Hombu Dojo community, because ultimately, like the reason why HDKI is because it's Hombu Dojo Karate, like my dojo's karate, but just internationally. So I want, like, what I've been doing, what we've been doing in the dojo for the last almost 20 years, trying to project that kind of farther afield, and what better way than to do it via Zoom. So yeah, it's great.
We have to teach a few people how to mute themselves.
I know.
We need a new dojo kun. He talks. Press the mute.
Yeah.
You should see.
It's that one.
I sometimes I text people who know Andrew, other HDKI PA guy. I go, guess who's not muting again? He knows. Oh, he'd be in your if something called, I don't know, work. Gets in the way, but he'd be in your classes if he didn't have work.
Yeah, no, Andrew's great. Andrew always looks like, so Andrew Perpich, who's another member of HDKI Pennsylvania. He always looks like he's halfway through a meeting and just suddenly started training. He's got his and his headphones, his mic, and you can see his desk and his the light of his computer. He's like, okay, well, yes, I think you should do. Okay, great.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Tomorrow we're having a white belt test, and he's gonna come join us for the first time in over a year and a half. Maskless.
Cool.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see him in person.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you all hopefully soon. So.
Oh, we can't wait for October.
Yeah. Me too.
If their sparring is not up to snuff, there might be nobody testing. But we're working on that every Saturday to get the brown belts up to snuff. So I got one candidate for black belt, but I'll rest on the sparring.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I keep on trying to remind myself not to wish away my life. Like it's only a one-way street, right? And but I can't wait until end of July. I can't wait until the autumn. You're like, no, enjoy June. Just enjoy June. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Simon, do you want to finish with the floor?
Yeah, I've just got a few quick fire questions. Yeah. So first one, Riva Sensei, have you ever been to Japan, and would you like to go?
Yes.
All right.
Yes to both. It was oh my God. It was.
Have you been?
It was 86.
Oh, you've been to where did you go?
We went to Kumamoto, mainly Kumamoto, because I was Chitaru then. We went there for a tournament and seminars.
Oh, you Chitaru. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we played tourist a week in Kumamoto, then a week playing tourist. It was a wonderful experience. I would like to go again, especially now that I have a place to stay. Yeah, I would like to go again. But yeah, I went there, and I would go again in a heartbeat. It was fun.
Second question: what are your feelings? Do you do tournament karate with your students, and what do you think about competition karate?
I did that growing up, karate-wise. It's different training, and I know you guys do tournaments, but it's not my thing. It takes away from regular practical training. That's just my opinion. I have nothing against you. Tournaments did bond a few of us together, so I can see the reason for doing that. The tournament's not real. And I was also turned off when I was a white belt several times over, seeing it's probably different now. The women division was not taken seriously. I think that's when it started to turn me off, is when I saw what was happening. And if you're not there all the time, most likely you're not going to be the one that's going to win. And I was in one tournament where our brown belt won every match. And all of a sudden he's being put up against another favorite brown belt for first place. And I thought, oh my God, politics and tournaments too. Where's Ozawa Sensei when you need him? So that turned me off against tournaments. And it's different training. I don't have time for that.
Okay, last question then. Is there anyone in the world that you haven't trained with who you'd like to train with?
Wow. I don't think so.
Oh, who's it?
Oh, okay. I know, Ubo Sensei, of course.
Yeah.
Not him.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't trained with Steve Ubo, no?
No, I just heard about him, and I have to try it for myself. But right now, I train with all the so-called legends. Stan Schmitz, the late Stan Schmitz, was a favorite.
Oh, you trained with Stan Schmitz Sensei? Wow.
He would come to Pitts. He came to Pitts. We were one of the two dojos when South Africa was open that he came.
Yeah.
He is where I learned the, I would call him Sensei, like at lunch. He goes, no, I'm Stan. What?
Yeah, not Sensei. Yeah.
What?
I would have loved to have met and trained with him. I absolutely would have loved to have met.
He's a wonderful human being. I loved his classes. I have old-fashioned photos of me and him.
Yeah. Post them on Facebook.
I think I did one for Simis, where I was handing him water on deck.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think. I mean, after you've trained with these people, I mean, you know, after Scott Sensei, they broke the mold, right?
No, but no, Stan Smith's a good one.
No,
So this Nishiyama Sensei or Okazaki Sensei, who was better?
Ooh.
I don't think, I'm trying to think if I was ever with Okazaki.
Oh, really? Okay.
My ex was, but not me. I did train with Nishiyama. Oh, I had to talk to you about that. This is not for here. I remember how I did a front stance and how he corrected it, and now it's switching again. So this is something I want to talk to you in October about, because my front stance changed because of what he told me, and it could have been a Japanese English thing. I don't know. But that was when we went to one of his seminars in DC. Oh God, eons ago. But there was a translation issue there. So, or
Did Nishiyama Sensei come to the East Coast a lot? Because it was always my impression. Like, obviously, like I don't understand how America.
It's not my organization, so
Well, I always got the impression that Nishiyama Sensei was in charge of the West Coast. Okazaki Sensei was in charge of the East Coast.
Yeah.
And then as you got closer to the middle, it got eventually kind of mixed up a little bit. But like neither of them went to either side of the country. Is that not right?
I mean, I'm not that familiar with that. I'm not the one to ask about that history because we weren't part of that, which I'm very grateful for, especially with things I'm finding out. Yeah, so but that seems right.
Yeah, okay. Because I think they were kind of like, you had Nishiyama Sensei in LA, right? Okazaki Sensei was in
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And you had Mori Sensei in New York, and they were together, weren't they? And then you had
Mori, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
You had who's in the south? There's a.
Is it Yukata Sensei was in Colorado, and you had the guy in Florida.
Sato
there was also is it Louisiana? Was it Miki?
Yeah, Miki,
right?
Miki, yeah, he was in Louisiana, yeah.
All those guys would be in Vegas, and I would go to their seminars.
I mean, I think I find, as being a British karateka, we're tiny. We're probably Pennsylvania might be bigger than England. 900 miles long.
I always equate kind of Europe with America, in the sense of the size and the slightly bigger with a bigger population, slightly bigger population, but generally speaking, it's quite comparable. And you think of like the JK instructors that went to America, and then the JK instructors that went to Europe. I think Europe was a little bit spoiled.
Well, yeah, Shirai, Italy, Kaze, France.
Shirai and Naito in Italy.
And Naito in Italy as well, yeah.
In Germany. Kase in France, you got Sawada in Belgium.
Yeah, and the Nodi Sensei in England,
Kato, Asano in England.
Yeah, like which is the size of Maine or something,
Yeah, I mean, there are just quite a lot of Japanese instructors that were based in Europe. Probably because they were all individual countries, whereas the JK went, oh well, America, it's one country, let's send 4 or 5 instructors. Yeah, who knows? But
because Asai Sensei was in Hawaii for a while, wasn't he? And Isaka Sensei was in New York, and
that's right. So Asai Sensei was in Hawaii.
I mean, after Kanazawa was there, then Asai Sensei came, then
was it not Asai Sensei first? Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe could be. Yeah. Either way,
and then
it would have been. Yeah.
And then Asai Sensei went to Taiwan. Yeah.
Any more questions?
Okay,
so last question, Simon Sensei, or are you?
No, I think I've given Riva Sensei enough tricky questions. Can I just ask you a quick question, because we've been very, 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 very busy recently, and just globally we've got some new countries. Who are the new countries joining us?
I can't say yet because
we can't say.
So basically, we have 4 countries in the process of becoming affiliated members.
Sorry, I jumped the gun. That's very much me.
That's nothing like you. Oh no, hang on a minute.
Well, I'll tell you what, my final one, because you are working in Ecuador on Sunday.
Well, yeah. So actually, this weekend I'm both teaching in India and Ecuador.
Well, there you go. By the magic of Zoom.
I am bilocating.
Excellent.
Yes, so I'm doing a seminar tomorrow, 3 o'clock for an Indian group. Well, they're both days, 3 o'clock tomorrow and Sunday.
Yeah.
For Bushindo, which is a group in India that is they're all Buddhists. It's part of the Buddhist order over there, and they have a large karate group, and they've asked me to teach a weekend seminar. And on the back of that, because I'd already agreed to do a course in Ecuador on Sunday, so yeah, it'll be interesting. I've taught in India twice, and the first time I went was in 2002 when I left Japan. I went there for a month and taught, and they were really dedicated, hard-working guys and girls, and the karate was okay, but they didn't have that much technical, but they had a little bit. I don't want to disparage the instructors that went before me because they did a good job, but certainly like I helped them, I think. And then I went back probably 10 years later, and I remember teaching, and obviously my karate had developed and my teaching had developed, I hope. And then I went back and I was teaching, and they were like, great, well, that was really interesting because 10 years ago you said this, and this. And now you're saying this and this. So how does that marry together? And I was like, holy shit. Well, it's kind of just development.
More developing.
Yeah, they were really challenging and challenging me and pushing me. And they were great guys, really super enthusiastic guys. And so it'll be interesting to see them again tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah. So there we go.
Riva, it's lovely to see you again, my friend.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for. It's nice to have a high-grade senior female karateka on our show. But thank you.
Is this a show? Is it?
As far as I'm concerned, darling, it's a show.
I am just a bit kind of a bit concerned about calling it a show. I think we're selling it for more than
conversation over beer.
I have no idea. Questions over a beer.
Yeah, the man who's drinking wine.
Yeah, yeah.
And
okay.
for the senior sensei who's drinking coffee.
Yeah, well, I have to say, Riva is pretending to drink coffee, but it's beer in that cup.
That's why we love you.
It's 16%. It's a home brewed.
The record still goes to Marcel Sensei, who in 6 o'clock in the morning Australia was drinking red wine with us.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyhow.
Okay, on that pleasant note, guys.
Us.
Cheers.